Today's the day where Jesse Ryder and his little weird family finally head to the mall. That's right, it's Series 2, Episode 3! Let's break it down, y'all. Well, hi, hello, everybody. My name is Turk. Welcome back to the Grouch Couch. Around here, we do all different kinds of weird TTRPG things, but yes, today, we're continuing our Walking Dead solo actual play series. It's Episode 3. This is the final episode we're going to be doing this here month of October, which means I want to remind everybody that if you want to see more episodes of this Walking Dead here series, make sure to let me know down in the comments below and leave a like here on this video to let me know that I should come back and I should do some more of this here series in the future, which I do hopefully plan to do. If you're watching this episode and it's 2026, just know that hopefully once a year I'm gonna come back and do a couple more episodes of this series as frequently as I possibly can. That's right. Thank you so much for watching all the way up to this here part. I believe this is technically episode 11 or series 2 episode 3. That also being said, make sure, my friends, to leave comments down there about our show and our story, about what maybe we can add in to the next episodes moving forward, right? Ideas, NPCs, other kinds of things, because they keep popping up. I don't know how, but they just do. So speaking of that, let's look at our here comment section from the last episode that we did. Of course, B-Town's finally joined in. What's up, B-Town? He's from the live stream, a long-running Grouch Couch friend of ours right there. We also got some nice words from Ballpark. Thank you. And from Rehinos. Thank you, sir. Not his frog. I don't know what that means, but appreciate it. Also, love the series. Definitely see it keep going, even if it becomes kind of like take 6 months off and we get a new season or whatever. Heck yeah. Absolutely appreciate that. I think next time I do a little season, I'm going to try to do more than 3 episodes. But with everything being said, check out my next update video. 3 is all I can manage to do right now. Finally caught up. Name the priest Charles. Maybe he was part of the school before the shit hit the fan, and he started drinking heavily after the people got killed. Just an idea. Could be. Charles is a really good suggestion. Not getting a 6 on 16d6 is about 5%, actually. Quite a bit better than only 1 on a d20. That's crazy. Yeah, and I did respond to that too. That's crazy. Use the book behind you. I don't want to, okay? Where is it? Right here. You got a strange comment reply from me. I don't want to. I want Foundry to work properly. But it is a good point. It would be, if I'm looking at Foundry and it says page number this, I could literally just open the page numbers in the fucking book behind me. I don't know, I didn't think that. Anyways, last comment says name for the priest, Father Patrick O'Donnell. And then super balding, red hair, blue eyes, like super Irish Catholic sounding Father Patrick Patty O'Donnell. Is it because he's a drunk? Is that why we're making him Irish? Wait a minute. Narrative comment, maybe question, how's he got his guns? Is he an army preacher? You know, that's not a bad idea. Because where the heck did he get them guns from? God, I have no idea. We're going to have to roll on that. That's such a good question. Okay, those are our comments. Remember, you guys, make sure to leave comments and things, because if you do, I'll read them and check them out and include them in the next episode. Yes, very good. So now I think is as good a time as any for us to get right back into our story. Yeah, as we last left off, all the guys were together and they were looking at everything that they have and trying to decide on a plan of what to do next, because they were in the calm before the storm, as I do believe. Before, of course, we went off on our little run and met Charles O'Donnell, which I think is what we're going to go with. We're going to combine the last name and the first name of the 2 different comments, so his name's going to be Charles O'Donnell, and he could definitely be a balding kind of guy. That makes a little bit of sense visually. But anyways, what I'm also thinking is I'm wondering if we're going to go to the mall today, because I kind of feel like the mall could be, if we want to give it like good enough treatment and actually go through it and discover it and see what it, because there might be other people there might be, who knows? And if we want to actually give it enough love, right, the mall, I think we should probably do it when we come back for the next series, is honestly what I'm thinking. Because it could be a couple episodes in itself. The whole gang gets together, or at least half of them, and head off to the mall and spend like days there figuring things out. I mean, what if they get stuck there? You know what I mean? And I don't really want to just go to the mall in this episode and then leave it there like we're out front or we're just in the entrance of the mall and that's where the episode ends. I don't really want to do that, especially mentally for me. So I'm wondering what we should get into next. But I do know there's a couple of homework things we definitely need to talk about. But here's what we're going to do. Our story is going to begin the next morning. We've put away all the guns and we have Charles O'Donnell, the preacher, tied up in a room. And I think definitely Big Mike like pulls the wallet out of his back pocket to learn his name while he's passed out, right? Passed out drunk and tied up, and tells everybody his name. So now we all know. And as this man wakes up, morning is come. And before I roll for environmental stuff or anything else going on outside of Havenwood, we're going to start in the room together with this man. So Charles O'Donnell, the preacher, sits in a wooden chair, his wrists bound behind his back, his collar's torn, his face is bruised from where he got hit in the face with the butt of the gun, and the stink of whiskey is still all about him. And we can see the morning sun coming through the curtains a little bit behind him, and Jay stands, arms crossed, Torka just pacing in the corner behind him. CC maybe sitting in a chair, scribbling notes of everything that he says, and Aiden watches from the stairs. Of course, Jay told his little brother, like, this is something you may have to deal with in the future, interrogating people, so you need to learn what this is about and know what's going on, so I want you to watch. And so Aiden watches from the stairs. I think the guns that we found, probably in a pile by the wall, we could see him, like, visually, like if we're painting a picture, like next to him, as like a reminder of what this man was hoarding. Inside, all we can hear is the breathing of the preacher, his ragged breathing. I think as he wakes up, he did that weird wheeze laugh in the last episode, just like randomly. So I think he does that a little bit, like as he wakes up. As he wakes up. And he's still tied up in the chair. I think Jay kicks the chair and he goes, all right, wake up. Now I can't get the picture of him being an Irish preacher out of my head, and I almost just went full on Irish preacher, like, what you kicking me chair for? You know, like Charles O'Donnell, but I don't think that's the case. I think he's just like, ugh, what? Why do you do that? And Jay's like, where'd you get all the guns from, preacher? And I think the preacher looks up and sees Jay and looks over to the pile of guns. And I know this is weird, but I actually kind of want to take a moment to roll a skill check with Jay because he hasn't gotten to roll a manipulation check before. And because we have this man tied up, I'm actually going to add 2 to this. 1, because we have him tied up, and 1, because we're asking him about guns that he clearly has because we have them, right? So it's a total of 5 dice. Let's clear the chat from last time. All right. Oh, we still have a stress dice too. That's crazy. We don't want to push, so I think we say, where'd you get all the guns from, preacher? And he laughs a little bit, and he goes, guns? Yeah. God provided the gun. You think he'd let me face the end without protection? Thanks, bastard, I think is what he says. And I think before we let anyone else weigh in and also try to get some information out of him, I think when he says that, Jay probably just right away has another question right away. I think he just says, what? You still think you're doing God's work there, preacher? And we're going to roll again. 0 successes. So I think with this, the preacher lashes out verbally, probably quoting scripture about judgment and wrath and revelations and the end of the world, and kind of spits at the floor, you know what I mean? And so I think Jay turns around and he looks at Big Mike and he's like, hey Mike, look, I can't get nothing out of this guy. Maybe you can try, you know, good cop, bad cop. And what is Mike's? He's got 1 in manipulation, so that'll definitely help. I think Mike goes, yeah, let me see. I think Mike then pulls up a chair next to him and he sits down and he goes, all right, look, Charles. And I think when he says his name, I think the preacher man looks up real quick like, what? How do you know my name? And Mike just looks at him. He doesn't show him the wallet or nothing. This is like interrogation tactic kind of thing. And Mike's like, look, Charles, can I call you Charles? We know that you got all these guns from somewhere. Obviously had to be after the fall, because there's no way that a man like you would have just had all these before that. So is there a guard post? Is there an outpost somewhere? Where did you get these from? Have you been trading? And then he's also going to roll manipulation. And he is going to get, because he's tied up, we have the guns, but also because he knew his name, he's going to get an extra dice. So we're going to roll 6. We got 2 full successes. I think Charles, the preacher, coughs a little bit. And he says, well, first let's ask some questions. Did he get these from let's do cast rank 5. Did he get these from a guard post or an outpost? Exceptional, yes. Okay. So he coughs a little bit and he goes, so he wasn't a military preacher. That kind of answers that question, at least halfway, right? He coughs a little bit and he goes, yeah, there's a guard post about 2 miles past the river, or well, what's left of it. I was going through there, just went to go get some more whiskey at the liquor store. I traded with a man named Cooper before the whole guard post just fell. Wait, did he actually trade with him, or is he lying? Did he actually trade with him? Yes. Okay, so he actually traded with him. Then Mike's like, okay. And you say that this guard post fell? That's where you got all those guns? Yeah, the guy I traded with, what did I say? Cooper. He also liked to drink a lot, so we had that in common. Now, there could still be more guns there. There could be, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, but probably overrun with walkers by now. You see, they used to make a lot of noise over there. Mike's like, okay, great. Here's the thing, preacher. We don't know if we can trust you yet, so until you completely sober up, or until you prove to us that we can let you go, we're gonna keep you tied up. So what we're actually going to do then is, we're going to keep him tied up. We learned where he found the guns, which is, I think, the only thing we really wanted to ask him about. We definitely want to learn more about his past and where he came from, and what like school he was from, if he was with anyone before. But I think all that's going to come in time. And so we're going to keep him imprisoned, and we're actually going to change on our map. We're going to change one of the rooms to the preacher's cell, right? And it's going to kind of become, I think, like a Havenwood threat, because he might try to manipulate Aiden or cause some trouble later, right? We now officially have our first prisoner, and it's going to be this preacher, because can't trust him. He tried to kill us. He has a bunch of guns. He's an alcoholic. That's kind of all we know. Oh, and this man's going to go through withdrawals, alcohol withdrawals in this here cell. Yeah, he is. Goodness. So he's kind of a long-term ticking time bomb kind of in our story, I think. We're going to have to keep an eye on. But this also means that we have learned something. We've learned about a guard tower. Very exciting. So, moving on, what I want to do is I actually want, Jay is going to go up to Cece, and he's going to be like, so a guard tower, huh? You think there was actually a guard tower out there? Don't you think they would have had some kind of a radio? Maybe they would have reached out to us or heard us or something? Cece's going to be like, yeah, I think so. I mean, not unless their radio was having the same issues ours was, and they couldn't figure out how to fix it. And I think, has she heard any kind of chatter about a guard tower over the radio? I'm going to call it nearly impossible. Exceptional no. Yeah, she has not. That was an 88 though, but our chaos factor is only a 6, but I like to do random events on every single double, right? We're going to go ahead and roll a random event. Move towards a threat. Observe innocent. Okay, where are my threats? So observe innocent. Jesse's dad, Jesse's mom, Letitia, Angela Bailey's true situation. I haven't updated these. Torca's tribe. There was anyone else listening to the radio broadcast. What I'm going to do is we're going to move towards a threat. I'm going to roll a d6. What is Angela Bailey's true situation is 4. She was a former YouTuber, well equipped and alone with a working radio. She claims that she's safe and she doesn't need help, but she may be hiding something. She did offer tips on the potential ally, which was Big Mike in the hardware store. Oh yeah. So how does she know Big Mike? And I had to observe and innocent. Observe innocent. What is this? Observe innocent. Oh, what? Wait. If we're still talking to this preacher, we don't know this preacher's background. We have literally no idea who his family is, where he came from, or what's going on. What if Big Mike has his wallet, and Big Mike opens up his wallet and pulls out a picture, and it's Angela Bailey in the preacher's wallet? And I think for sure as he pulls it out, the preacher goes, hey, don't touch that. Don't touch that. Here's a follow-up question. Like, how old do we think she would have been in this photo? I mean, if it's a photo, she's probably pretty young, right? Because nowadays people just take pictures with their phones. So I'm just going to go ahead and assume that she was pretty young. She's younger, maybe smiling in the photo. She seems happy. And Charles's last name is O'Donnell's and is Angela Bailey. So they're obviously not related. But what if Angela was like a person who went to Charles O'Donnell's church before the world ended? Maybe that's why she's so close to here. So that's why we could pick her up on the radio, right? Because she was in this area. Maybe, okay, here's a question. Was she like one of the last survivors under Charles O'Donnell's protection? But maybe when she started losing faith and the world was ending, maybe she escaped or ran away out of like his protection. You know what I mean? So maybe he was taking care of her because maybe she had like family that went to the church and the family didn't make it. So that's the question. Was she under his protection? And I'm gonna call this very likely. Was she a part of the church and under his protection? Yes. Okay, good. So I think Big Mike pulls the picture out and he's like, don't touch that, right? And then Mike's like, oh yeah? Who is this? And I think he goes, she used to sit right there. Third pew. Always talking about hope. Said she was going to show the world people were still good. She was going to make videos about it. But I guess she was wrong about people still being good. Because I was protecting people from the evil in the world. When the world first ended. And I had them all prisoner. And she escaped. Along with a few others. During an attack maybe? An attack of walkers maybe? Was there like a walker attack and all of them got out? No. Okay. Maybe they all rebelled against him? Yes. Okay. They all rebelled against me and ran away. And that's why I just drink myself into oblivion now. But Angela's gotta still be out there. She's proof God hasn't turned his back. Maybe he's just turned his face away from me. And I think for sure whenever he finishes talking, Mike kind of like nods his head and he shows the picture around and Torca's eyes for sure go wide and he goes, that's Angela Bailey. She's the one from the radio. She's alive. And then I think Jay's like, oh, what? And Cece's like, oh, shit. And then Jay steps forward to the preacher and he's like, oh, so you know her. She was one of your prisoners? And then Charles is like, know her. She was the reason I preached after the dead came a-walking, you know. I thought she was gone, but if you say she's still out there speaking, maybe there's something worth saving. I think Jay goes, shut up. You had her as a prisoner. We'll be the judges of that. And so I think it's a little bit of a mess, but I think a lot was revealed there. A little bit messy. There's definitely a way I can clean all that up in my notes a little bit, I think. But Jay turns back to Cece and he's like, we gotta just lock this guy back up. We gotta reach out to Angela and see what Charles O'Donnell's all about, because this is fishy. I think Cece goes, okay, I'll give it a shot. And they take the man back into his prison cell, of course. And I think Big Mike starts putting all the guns away and then they all gather around the radio, and I'm wondering if I can do a skill check with her. Manipulation? No, I don't think so. Let's just do a yes/no question. She's just going to call out, and we'll see if Angela answers. And I'm going to call it really likely because I think as soon as she hears Charles O'Donnell's name, she might, yes. Okay, so she does call back. So, CC Andrews calling out to Angela Bailey. We have a question. This is a question about a man that well, I can't say too much, but his name is Charles O'Donnell. He was the preacher here, the place we now call home. I think they wait a little bit of anticipation happened, and then Angela calls back and she goes, "Is this Angela? Did you say Charles O'Donnell? He's still alive?" CC's like, "Yeah, well, not for long if he's not a good guy. I mean, that's why we're asking you, because he has a picture of you in his wallet." And then she goes, "Ew, that's gross. A picture of me? Yeah, from like when you were a kid." Okay. So if we think for a second, we got a yes, right? So he was basically imprisoning all these people because he thought he was keeping them safe from probably something like the devil inside the walkers or something, right? That only makes sense. So he had all these people in prison, and then all the people rebelled against him and broke out. And Angela Bailey was one of those people, and now she's living on her own. So like, this is such a hard question to ask, but it's like, we need to know, what is the moral obligation here? Like, do we keep Charles O'Donnell alive? I think we do, but what question do we ask her? Okay, my mic wasn't on. I did a couple dice rolls, but it's totally cool. We're gonna run it back. So I lost myself a little bit there. There's a lot happening, a lot going on. But one thing I think is that Charles O'Donnell is still a little bit drunk this morning. So I don't even think he realized that we said that Angela Bailey is still alive. So I think he was just like, if she's alive, she's worth living for. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't even realize that we have said that, because I think she might mean a lot to this man, potentially. But while we have Angela Bailey on the phone, Cece's gonna ask her some questions just to help fill in this timeline and kind of learn a little bit, maybe how things got as dark as they did with this man that quick, right? So the first question she's gonna ask is, okay, Angela, how long you were imprisoned with Charles O'Donnell? How long were you imprisoned before you got out? And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna roll a d20 and we're gonna count it in months. 10. Okay. 10 months. Just kind of good because it's been a couple years since the outbreak happened, right? Totally fine. And then, so Angela's like, wow, I was with him almost a year. I think it was like 10 months. It's hard to tell time, but I think. Next question. Okay, Angela, did he hurt anyone? We'll call it likely. 34, yes. So Angela's like, yeah, he hurt people. He was kind of drunk and kind of mean. Oh no, I did discovery meaning descriptors to kind of see why he would hurt people, and I got positively young. So to that means almost all of us that he had imprisoned were kids. Yeesh. And if we didn't stay positive about everything going on, he would hurt us. If we cried, he would hit us. Yeesh. Oh gosh. What happened to the other kids who escaped? Are they still alive? 50-50. Exceptional no. So Angela's like, no, they didn't make it out. In fact, they didn't even make it out the door. If they weren't with him when you found him, then they're for sure dead. Wait, were there 4 of them? Were there 4 other children? Very likely. Yes, I think the 4 walkers that he had on chains outside of his house were those children. So he chained them up. Maybe they died and he didn't have the balls to actually, finish them off. And so he just chained those walkers up outside. It wasn't even for a defense mechanism. He chained them up out there to keep them out of sight, out of mind. God, what a fucking loser. This is getting bad. Okay, Cece says, Charles O'Donnell, he's here with us, Angela. Do you want us to let him hear you to know that you're alive? No, she says, no, don't tell him. I want him to think that I'm dead. Okay, yeesh. So right now to me, we learn all that, and I want to kill this man pretty badly. But let's move on and ask her some questions about the world before we hang up with her. You said you're somewhere safe out there, Angela. Is there anyone else with you, or are you alone? Is there anyone else with you? 50-50. That's a 50. Last time she said, I don't remember what she said last, but is there anyone else with you? She said yes. Okay. Yes, there's other people with me. You mentioned that you seen the lights on in the mall. Is that where you are? 55, which is doubles. Yes. But we got unexpected random event, NPC, deny plot. Deny plot. I think simply on this question, I think she just says, yes, that's where I am, but you cannot come here. Whatever you do not come to the mall. I am here. I am not alone. Do not come to the mall, especially while Charles O'Donnell is alive. I think Cece's like, oh, okay. Very interesting. I think I should have probably rolled a manipulation roll with Cece first as well, just to see how much Angela would have opened up. So that's a mistake on me. But I think that ends our conversation. I think Cece just says, okay, well, we have some other things we have to do. We do want to come to the mall eventually, Angela. So we'll be in touch with you soon, okay? I think Angela's like, yes. Does she want us to just kill Charles O'Donnell before we get off the phone here? I'm gonna call it likely. off the radio. Yes. I think before we get off, Angela goes, okay, Cece, I'll speak to you soon. Do me a favor and kill Charles O'Donnell. And then the radio goes off. And Cece turns to Jay, who's standing there, mouth probably just agape. And she goes, well, you heard her. Are we going to kill him? And I think he goes, group meeting. And he calls everyone, and everyone gathers together. And they're like debating together now if they should take this man out. So the group gathers outside. Birds chirp as the sun is rising and the warmth is filling the church. I think everyone's gathered in a rough circle around a little table, staring at the floor. The radio in the corner just clicking softly. Jay clears his throat and just says, I think we gotta kill him. We have to decide now. And a silence, I think, falls around everybody like a shroud, right? Jay says, he imprisoned people, possibly killed children, and hurt the people that we could have saved. We can't let this man out again. What if he tries to do it again? And I think Torka is the idealist. He's a little spiritual, a bit practical. I think he says, look, man, we're not executioners, though, man. There's a line, and I don't want to cross it unless it's unavoidable. And then Cece says, yes, but broken, unpredictable, and a risk. And then if we keep him in prison, he'll just be another resource that we have to babysit. Big Mike says, but if he knows where weapons are, or where this guard tower is, we totally burn out that intel if we kill him. If we keep him around, we can continue to question him about what's going on. And then Aiden's still a child. I don't know. Let's do a fake question, 50-50. Yes for killing, no for keeping alive. He'll kind of be the breaker here. No for keeping alive. Okay. Aiden says, what if he's sorry? What if he cries like that and then he dies? What if he begs for forgiveness and then we still kill him and then that'd be on us forever? And I think Aiden gets up as they say that. He's like sad. He marches right over to the jail cell and he knocks on it, and Charles looks up and Aiden goes, explain yourself. We know what you did. And I think he goes, I did what I had to do. I kept them kids from the devil. I didn't mean, if Angela's alive, God kept her alive. I can't make amends, but just know that what I thought, do it right. Kill me if you must. I won't beg. And then Aiden points at him and looks at everyone else and goes, see, he didn't know any better. What if I did something wrong like that? Would you kill me? And Jay goes, yeah, little brother, you're right. Let's keep him locked up. Keep him sobered up. Maybe he can make amends. But here's the deal. Angela cannot know. She cannot know Charles is alive, especially if we plan to get into that. So he's going to continue to be an ongoing threat. We're gonna have to roll. He might manipulate other people. He's gonna cost resources. It's something we gotta remember. But he could have a potential redemption later. Just like the long game kind of payoff, which I think is good. But I do think at the very end, whenever he sees that, Charles O'Donnell sees that Aiden saved his life, and he nods and just winks at him before he passes back out. Like, he did all that bad shit to kids, and then a kid is who saved it. You know what I mean? That's something. Jeez, that was... The thing about The Walking Dead is there's always these moral choices, right? Like, we haven't had a lot of these in our campaign so far. So that's something. Definitely something. Okay, so we got that figured out. There's a couple of things that I just want to know. There's things that I want to know before we got another break and we don't have more episodes coming out. There are things that I just want to know, right? We've got Charles. He's in prison, right? And all that's fine. Our scouts. And I believe our scouts are Aiden and Tor. I think both these guys go up to the bell tower, and both of them are going to make scout rolls. And Aiden is actually going to get an extra dice because he's going to use his gear, his binoculars, going to give him an extra 2 for a total of 7. And they're going to look out towards the glass factory and that whole area over there where we last seen the off faction, just 2-3 blocks away, like a couple streets over, just to see if they can see what the heck is going on over there, what the heck we need to prep for, because we need to keep an eye on them to see what's going on, right? And then we're also maybe going to look towards the mall to see what we can see maybe going on over there as well. We need to get a little bit more information about what's going on. So first, see if we can get a success. If we can, we'll make some descriptor rolls. It's 1 success from Aiden, and that's 1 success from Torka. Heck yeah. Okay. Location descriptors. And we'll do this as many times as we need to. Element meaning, let's just do descriptor. Timidly odd. And also we did location, locations. And we got purposeful entrance. So as they look over, since we got entrance, to me that means that they have taken over the big glass warehouse on purpose, obviously. We can only assume because they have a lot of gear there to be able to like melt things. Maybe they're using something to melt down iron to make bullets. Maybe something like that. We don't know, but there's a big old entrance there now, probably boarded up, covered in painted skulls. Because we remember from that first episode, the off faction would take dead bodies and paint them to make art out of them. So there's just all these decorated skulls. It's like huge entrance. It's like boarded up. Is there probably a bunch of zombies all around over there? All my USBs died. My camera's frozen. Hold on. All right, is there a bunch of walkers out front? Or like, if no, then they've been killing, right? So are they just leaving them to kind of pile up? We'll call it unlikely. No, so there's no walkers out front, which means that they're killing them themselves. So there's probably a bunch of dead ones. So using like, stabbing them through the fence kind of method, but there's a big old entrance now. Probably has like the name of their faction, like Yahweh, like in big old skulls. Like they've totally just claimed this whole glass warehouse and they're fucking proud of it. Is there a bunch of action going on over there? I'm gonna call it pretty likely, very likely. Is there like a bunch of dudes? Yes. All right. So there's a bunch of dudes walking around. They've claimed it up. Like, looks like it's one of their main bases. All right. So we look now towards the mall. Is there a bunch of zombies just all around the mall? Is there a horde over there? 50-50. Yes. Maybe that's why Angela said we shouldn't go there, because there's a horde of zombies at the mall. She said, don't come here. There's a horde. Okay. That's totally fair. Are the lights on? Yes. Okay. So maybe there's a lot of noise happening over there. But very likely, last question, the horde is outside, right? Yes, okay. So Angela's fine, but that means Angela's in danger. All right, so we come down and we relay all that information. And does Big Mike know anything about the mall? Fake question. 39. Yes. What does he tell us? Discovery meaning description. Dimly healthy. Dimly healthy. To me, that's like he says, yeah, now the lights over there may be a little dim, but there are healthy plants on the inside. Still growing. Nice fertile soil. It's pretty healthy on the inside. From when I last seen, all the walkers were outside. So as long as they keep that place safe over there, they're doing okay. And it's healthy. So a lot of healthy people on the inside. Maybe not a lot. It's just a few healthy people. It's immediately just thought plants for some reason. So definitely have a healthy garden growing. That's why it's dimly lit. They're drawing all their power to the garden. Jay's like, okay, well, you guys, this is it's crazy that we've been recording for 2.5 hours, and this is not the episode I thought we were going to have at all. I thought we were going to fight some stuff, and I came into this thinking we were going to go fight our way into the mall. I had like combat rules ready and prepped. I was like ready for solo combat. But that Charles thing just took way too long. But you know what? It's for a reason. We got a lot of good information. I would not have known that Angela Bailey was at the mall. So that's good. She did say good strong walls, lots of canned food. She did say that, if I remember right, in the faraway episode. So there's that. Jeez. Look, you guys might hate me for this, but I think that's it. That's all the time I have. 2 hours of recording. This video is probably cut down to about 50 minutes for you. Dang. What do we think about Charles and Angela? What do we think about that situation? Who do we think she might still be surviving with at the mall? Who is she with? If she's not with the 3 kids she escaped with, who did she wind up with? She's at least with one other person, right? And they're all trapped inside of that mall. So what do we think first? Do we need to attack the Yoth faction, or do we need to go to the mall first to save those people? What do we think we should do? Also, did we make the right choice? Do you think we should have taken out Charles, or do you think we made a good choice imprisoning him? Let me know down in comments. For real, that's wild. Also, do you think I did a good job kind of putting all that together? I hope so. But really, I had fun, and I guess that's really what matters. My friends, I'm gonna be back in a couple months with some more episodes of The Walking Dead. Until then, you can check out some other solo series that I've done here on the channel. Some of them really good, some of them decent, some I'm really proud of, some that I just threw together for fun because I love books and rolling dice, and that's what I love to do for fun. So whichever ones you might like, make sure to check them out and subscribe here for a little while, right? Take a seat on the couch and roll initiative, at least for a little while, or until you get to imprison a preacher yourself in the middle of the apocalypse. That's right, friend. For now, roll on that, weirdos, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.